Musa hit the water, everyone was just wondering, what is he doing? Why would you hit an ocean, a sea, with a stick?
Exactly.
But then, subhanAllah, it is the one who created the ocean that knows that this stick isn't just a mere stick. So when Musa hit the ocean, it split into two. The greatest lesson from this tiny insect here is we have no right to judge people's intentions. Because they were almost being crushed by King Solomon for Suleiman. But the ant took time to remind everyone else that is about to die actually, that be aware, do not misjudge Suleiman. He doesn't mean to crush us. He doesn't know that we're here. Look at our signs, they're so tiny, barely visible, hardly noticeable.
2019 में टाइम मैगज़ीन ने दुबई कुरानिक पार्क को अपने ही तर्ज का दुनिया का बेहतरीन पार्क मुकर्रर किया था और ये भी कहा था कि ये दुनिया की टॉप 100 डेस्टिनेशंस में से एक है। ये पार्क दुनिया का वाहिद पार्क है जहां कुरान और सुन्नत के हवाले से फल और पौधे लगाए गए हैं और टेक्नोलॉजी के ज़रिए उनके फ़वाइद बयान किए गए हैं।
This is the path that leads to the glass house. Okay, of course the park, as I said, it's 6,000 acres. Has 3 gates, 3 entrances. The calligraphy is to demonstrate the importance of Arabic language, of course, being that the park itself is the Quranic Park and the Quran was revealed in Arabic language, as you know. So the 12 gardens inside the park is consisted of 12 gardens, 12 orchards, and each orchard with 2 layers of smart screens in the middle, touch screens, in order for the people who want to learn more, get deep into details about the plantations and all that. The references for the plantations in the Quran or from the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad or even the scientific researches and so on, they could actually touch the screen and get the information they're looking for, most especially for educational purposes. So you got 12 gardens. If we're gonna start the gardens, we're gonna be driving through the gardens like that, okay, until we're back to where we start from. Okay. Apart from that, if we're not doing that, the glass house itself contains 29 types of plants, also from the Quran and Sunnah, but as a modern greenhouse, sort of, with of course a marvelous architecture putting. So in the glass house, we can view 29 types of plants without having to walk all the way around. Okay, and from the glass house, then there in the middle where you see the fountains, that is the miracle embodying the story of the Prophet Moses. Prophet Moses' miracle of splitting the lake. Then after that, of course, the cave. So that is, in short, briefly, the Quranic Park. This is what indicates what orchard you're on.
Okay.
So it shows like this is the onion orchard. Okay.
So what does that mean?
It means that the major plant in this orchard is the onion.
Onion. Oh, okay. Really?
And of course it's seasonal because we live in Arabia, so sometimes it's there, sometimes
exactly.
not.
How are they maintained? I mean,
actually, in the winter when it's a bit cooler, all the orchards have their named plants available. In the summer, it's the glass house.
When was the park opened?
29th of March 2018. These are the onions. So when you
acha. From here.
The onion is here.
So all this has been mentioned in the Quran. Is that what?
In Quran and in Sunnah.
In the Sunnah as well. कुरानिक पार्क में 12 हिस्से हैं जहां ऐसे पौधे लगाए गए हैं जिनका जिक्र कुरान और सुन्नत में है, जैसे कि मकई, मिसवाक, Yam, सरसों, तुलसी, बेर, एलोवेरा, अनार,
And then it grows.
और बेशुमार और ऐसे पौधे जिनका हम तसव्वुर भी नहीं कर सकते.
Most of the Muslims aren't aware that there is a strong connection between Islam and nature. I think that Islam is all about rituals, the spiritual connection. But they forget that, the Creator Almighty who created Islam for us is the one who created nature for us as well. So in order for you as a Muslim to practice your Islam perfectly, you need to be healthy, you need your strength, you need your environment to be friendly with.
Actually, you have such a nice point you made, because we as Muslims, we focus so much on rituals that we don't know much about these things actually. Switzerland has such fields.
This is the Dubai Switzerland.
पार्क में जगह जगह लगी हुई स्मार्ट ट्रीज से धोखा मत खाइएगा, क्योंकि ये सिर्फ आपको इंटरनेट कनेक्शन देने के लिए लगाई गई हैं. पार्क के सेंटर में एक बहुत खूबसूरत ग्लास हाउस है जहां कंट्रोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट से ये पौधे लगाए गए हैं.
Welcome to the glass house.
हर पौधे पे उसका नाम, उसके हमारी सेहत के लिए फ़वाइद और इस्लाम से ताल्लुक़ भी बयान किया गया है.
You got belly, you got the onions. Tini was zaytun. On the water, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us the little hidden details here, is that we don't sit back and wait for everything just to happen. Allah could do it without asking Musa to even hit anything. But he ordered him, get the stick in your hand, hit it, hit the water with it. And after you causing, using the cause, when you set the cause, then magic happens. So when Musa hit the water, everyone was just wondering, what is he doing? Why would you hit an ocean? a sea with a stick.
Exactly.
But then, subhanAllah, it is the one who created the ocean that knows that this stick isn't just a mere stick. So when Musa hit the ocean, it split into two.
But that is such a good way of looking at it and explaining as well, actually. I don't know if people actually thought of it that way. They just kept it as a miracle. But then it's a lesson for us.
Even you see when the mother of Isa, Maryam, alayhi salam, alayhi both salam, when she was in labor pain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could drop the dates down on her without her shaking anything. But He ordered her to shake the palm. So always take the first step. Don't sit back. Take the first step and pray to Allah to bless that. Musa alayhi salam.
SubhanAllah, it's beautiful. But actually, here, it's been depicted so
Yeah.
well. You guys have thought of it so well that it just takes you back to so much of time.
Like you wonder how dangerous would it
Yeah.
be when the
Exactly,
walls
walls
are
were
actually a
still-
mountain. Something more we learn from these stories that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always gives us, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, always that I give you stories so that they may reflect on them. When the people of Israel, when the children of Israel actually were following Musa, Musa is faithful to his God, but they don't know that they haven't reached that level of faith where they have confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. God directs Musa towards the sea. I have no boat. There is nothing ahead of me that I'm going to use to cross over to the other side. And they asked Musa, which direction are you taking us to? Ahead of us is the sea. Behind us is the army. And we're limited in number and ammunition. How are we going to do? Musa told them,
हज़रत मूसा का मौजज़ा क्या था? जब वो लोगों को लेके मिस्र से फ़लस्तीन की तरफ चले तो रास्ते में रेड सी आया और उनके हाथ में क्या था? सिर्फ़ एक छड़ी थी। अल्लाह ताला क्या बताना चाहते हैं? ये कि जब उन्होंने छड़ी इस्तेमाल की तो रास्ता बन गया दरिया के बीच में और वो लोगों को एक तरफ से दूसरी तरफ लेके जा सके। आप ईमान की पुख्तगी देखें और अल्लाह ताला ने एक सबक यहाँ पे ये भी दिया है कि चाहे मुआवजा मैं ही करूँगा लेकिन शुरुआत और हिम्मत आपने करनी है। इस पार्क में ये जगह ऐसी बनी हुई है जहाँ पे उस मुआवजे को रिक्रिएट किया गया है और अभी आपको पानी की आवाज़ इतनी आ रही है, आप उस वक्त का सोचें असल में आवाज़ कितनी होगी।
Welcome to history. It's time for us to experience, to go through what our ancestors actually went through, living in the mountains, in the caves. But of course, it won't be the same as back then because this is way modernized and air conditioned. Let's proceed, please. I have 7 halls displaying 7 interactive shows of miracles of the different prophets. By the way, if you had known, he highly emphasized on agriculture. The best method of fighting poverty is by feeding people. In one of the hadiths, Prophet says that not until someone is fully dead, if you happen to be on the deathbed and happens to be in hand a seed, don't die with it. Plant it. And then rest in peace. It teaches us few things. One, the best way of fighting poverty
is by growing food all the time. Second, the best way of fighting crime is by saving people from starving. It teaches us that it's our responsibility to develop earth. Allah will look after it, but we should also make effort in a sense of showing appreciation. It also teaches us not to be selfish. But a selfish person on the deathbed would never think of anyone who comes after. But a true Muslim should always think about himself and everyone else, even in the most critical times. Yeshua, Emmanuel, Jesus, Isa, Yeshua, and so many other names. The son of Maryam. Because most of the miracles of Isa alayhi salam are mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5 of the Quran, verse 110. The Prophet, the story of Prophet Zain alayhi salam, this one comes in the Quran, in chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 259. There's a man whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that he questioned the ability of the redevelopment of a demolished city. How will it ever grow back to its previous status? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala paused his life for 100 years and was called back to life again after everything that he had questioned. Possibility is now existing. They consider him to be a king, sort of. A wise man who predicted what would happen later on, and then his prediction saved the people. The greatest lesson from this tiny insect here is we have no right to judge people's intentions. Because they were almost being crushed by King Solomon, Suleiman. But the ant took time to remind everyone else that is about to die actually, that be aware, do not misjudge Suleiman. It doesn't mean to crush us. He doesn't know that we're here. Look at our signs, they're so tiny, barely visible, hardly noticeable. So it teaches us that we should always not judge people's intentions not until they're put open and revealed. But as long as they remain within their chests, we have no right to judge them. The second lesson we learn from the ant is that everyone should play their community part. So it was time for disaster. A catastrophe is about to take place. The ant that was away could actually save itself, but it had to rush back to the others and warn them, let us all be saved, or we'll all back together. This is the second part of the miracle of Isa alayhi salam. Of course, it's the same chapter, the same verse. Isa alayhi salam creating a few birds out of clay, breathing in them by the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending them off in the air and they would fly. By the way, if you compare books, be it Quran or the Bible, you'll always find that Isa alayhi salam, whenever he would mention himself with authority of doing something, he would always give credit to Allah Almighty and himself. He would say, I did it by the power given, or in the name of Allah. This is Ibrahim alayhi salam, the reviving of the birds. Now, as we say in the previous one, this is in the same chapter number 2, chapter 2 called Al-Baqarah. It's the longest chapter, of course, in the Quran. And Zain alayhi salam had questioned the redevelopment of structures. A city that was demolished, a village. Ibrahim alayhi salam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show him the possibility of raising life back from the dead. Souls. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders Ibrahim alayhi salam to collect 4 birds of different types of his own choice, slaughter them, cut them into pieces, scatter the pieces around mountains, and then call them back by their names. The moment he calls them back, he saw the birds all fly alive. The lesson here is that do whatever you do, but keep in mind, there is coming back for accountability. So if you know there is accountability, you should mind what you're doing before it's time. The splitting of the moon. Something for us to learn from this one, that as we all believe in the existence of waves that we don't see, we have no right to disbelieve the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have no right to disbelieve that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does what He wants, when He wants, the way He wants it, to whoever He wants it, as He sees fit. The people of Makkah asking Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to prove to them that He is a prophet and a messenger. It teaches us what we learn from when we reflect on this story, is that the discussion was taking place at night. Otherwise, they could have pointed at something else, but they said the moon, split it into two. Ask your God to split the moon in mockery, thinking it won't happen. But they already know that Muhammad has been with them for 40 years and he never lied them. So when he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to split the moon for them, and they saw the moon split into two, they said this is again magic and sorcery. It couldn't have happened. But they added a condition that let's wait for the travelers who come from different directions to Mecca. Perhaps it's impossible that all the travelers were brainwashed and all of them were blindfolded. Let's wait for them to arrive to Mecca, and we asked them individually, did you see the moon split from wherever our point you were at? And the travelers arrived in shock, already reporting to the Qurayshis before they were even addressed. We saw something strange in the horizon. The moon appeared to pieces. Did you guys see it from here as well? So the Qurayshis finally, facing the major defeat again, they insisted that Muhammad's sorcery skills were beyond what they had imagined. They were greater than the expected sorcery level. He could not only affect those around him, but he also affected people from far at the same time.